we've been having. Off to our right side, we have an eagle's wing. Here you can see the stone feathers. As we travel throughout the cave, you'll notice the white color. The white color here is calcite. Calcite's a mineral. Here we have some calcite deposits. We also come across the rust color here. This rust color is iron deposits. And to our left side, we have the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, so nice.
Coming up in front of us here, we've got a light switch. The lights are already on, so what I'm going to do is turn them off, turn them right back on. That's to show any of the boats in the cave. We are in this room. They're not going to leave the lights off, but if the lights go off if the lights go off while we're kind of hanging out talking about something, they will come right back on then. Now, all the dripping you see, you hear, you feel throughout the cave, that comes from the rain. When it rains, those water droplets go through the ground, they gather up minerals, and then they work their way into this section of the cave where they release those minerals. When it does drip from the ceiling, hits the walls or hits the floor, the minerals are going to be left behind, and that's what's going to cause the formations here to grow. So checking out right above us here, you're going to see some very small formations. They're known as stalactites. They hang tight to the top here. Now the opposite of a stalactite will be a stalagmite. They might reach the top. And when the two formations grow together, they form a formation known as a column. And we'll see a couple columns as we go around this turn right here. So right here you can check out a column, and again that's just when the two formations grow together. Now here in a little bit we are going to be traveling through this tight squeeze in front of us to work our way over to this next room. And the next room is known as the dry room. There's not going to be as much dripping in there, but again from all the rain we've been having, the cave is dripping a lot more than it usually does. As we do go through this tight squeeze, if you are on my right side, you will want to watch your heads and duck, and I'll point out where you want to duck at. If you are on my right side, watch your heads right here. We want to keep those hands inside the boat as well. We might feel a bump as we work our way through this tight squeeze. So again, watch those hands and heads. Again, watch your heads. Watch those hands, watch those heads.
Okay.
And we might feel a bump coming closer to the, yep, just like that. Okay. Now here we are in the dry room. Looking around, you'll see there's not too much dripping and there's not too many formations.
Yeah.
During the Ice Age, the water would get stuck in between the cracks of the rock in the ceiling you see here today. It would freeze, expand, causing these rocks that were once on the ceiling here to fall to the floor. Nowadays, Penn's Cave is going to stay right around this same temperature of about 10 degrees Celsius. So it's not going to freeze down here in the cave. Since it doesn't freeze down in the cave, we don't have to worry about anything falling down anymore. Now, again, since it doesn't freeze, not much really happens in this room. But if we were to go about 20 meters back into this room, we would find a very vertical shaft entrance. Now this entrance, originally a man named James Martin worked his way down in 1795, being the first man to officially discover Penn's Cave. When he came down into this room, he discovered a fire pit with arrowheads inside, showing that Native Americans could use it as shelter and animals would have done the same. James found 2 mountain lion skulls down here in the cave. Speaking of mountain lions, we have this formation right here. it kind of resembles the Penn State Nittany Lion. And then off to our right side here, we have this formation that kind of looks like an owl. Now in 1865, a man named Isaac Paxton came down in the cave. He came down through the same entrance into this same room, saw all this water. He decided to get a paddle boat, get a torch, and explore through the cave. He went through the cave, went back to town to tell people about the adventure. People got excited. They wanted to go through the cave too, so he started his own private tours going back and forth. Business kept growing. In 1885 then, Penn's Cave was officially commercialized. Here in a moment, we will be going around this turn. As we go around this turn, we'll get a pretty good view of this formation right here. In the early years of the cave tour guides would end up hitting it with a stick. It would ring and then break. After about 2 years of hitting it and breaking it, they decided they'll protect it, preserve it, and let others enjoy it. So we are going to go around this turn, and I can shine my light on that formation for us then.
It's okay, it's okay.
Now here we can see the chime formation, be able to see where it's been broken up, chipped off at here.
Yeah.
This formation has stopped growing because of all the damage, but the backside here is still growing. So maybe in a few hundred years, it'll kind of restore itself and cause that formation to grow again. Now, this section of the cave right here is where you normally find some of our bats. The bats will come in here, latch themselves to the ceiling, the walls, go to sleep for hibernation. During their hibernation period, their heartbeat only beats about 3 times every minute. So they're pretty much in a coma. If we were to disturb the bats during hibernation, they're gonna wake up, fly around, use all their energy, and eventually starve to death. We do our best not to disturb the bats. They're very good for insect control. A single bat can eat about 1,000 insects per night. Now, a majority of our bats, since it has gotten colder, and now it's starting to warm up a little bit, they have worked their way to some of the crevices throughout the cave. So a majority of our bats are going to be hanging out in some of the back rooms, back crevices, but we might see a bat or two as we're kind of just going through the cave here then. But off to our right side, you'll be able to check out this heart-shaped crevice. We call this the heart of Penn's Cave.
Oh, wow.
Now, like I mentioned earlier, Penn's Cave is going to stay right around this same temperature of 10 degrees Celsius. This is because caves keep the average annual temperature of the area they're in. For Pennsylvania, the caves are going to stay right around this same temperature. But if we were to travel down south, maybe to Texas, the caves are going to be a lot warmer because the climate's a lot warmer. Now, bats tend to go to those caves not for hibernation, but just to escape the heat. Sometimes during the summer, we'll get some really warm days. Our bats can come into the cave to escape that heat. Usually right after hibernation. Here in the spring, we might still get some cold nights or cold mornings, so the bats will still come in just to warm up then. Coming up right here on this low-hanging ceiling, you'll be able to check out some of these very small stalactites. Now, in the early years of the cave, the tour guides would reach up here, break them off, and keep them as souvenirs. As a result, you'll notice a lot of the formations have stopped growing. Coming off to our right side right here, you'll be able to check out this mineral. It's known as magnesium. Now, magnesium is a flammable mineral used in flints. The tour guides would come down here with their paddle boats and torches. They'd reach on the wall, pull a chunk of that off, throw it in their torches to keep their torches lit. With the torches, it's going to give them a lot of light so they can see through the cave, but also produce a lot of smoke. That smoke would end up latching itself right over here onto this flowstone.
Oh.
Now, flowstone, normally a white calcite color like this, has now become a dark chocolate color just like this. Coming off to our left side right over here, we have Niagara Falls from the Canadian side. And we also have the American side of Niagara Falls right here. Right below Niagara Falls, we have what looks like a dragon or a dinosaur. We have the tail, the body, and the head.
Look at that, the dragon ball.
If you take a moment, look right over here, we have this formation. Now it spirals down the wall. This formation is known as cave bacon. That's actually its scientific name. But the formation is caused, it grows just by the water that spirals down the wall, giving it that spiral formation there. And we're gonna hang out here for a little bit just to let this boat in front of us work its way back through, and then we'll work our way over to that next room then. Throughout the cave, we do have some fish. They are rainbow trout. Now, these fish were originally stocked in the cave. They are actually at the other end of the cave in a lake, but they got attacked by predators like bald eagles, so they decided to swim back and forth throughout the cave to avoid predators. Nowadays, you might find some of those fish towards the dock. Right now, it's going to be harder to see them because of the water being cloudy, but these fish do swim back and forth throughout the cave depending on what they want. If they want some fresh air, some sunlight, they're going to go out to the lake. They want some food or protection, again, they're going to go right there to the dock.
These will form when the minerals are in deposit on top of mud or dirt or any kind of sediment. And eventually,
Again, we're going to kind of hang tight to this right side here, just to wait for this boat to slide by. How's it going, Vegeta?
you probably still want to park closer like I did.
Okay.
Pretty good, Vegeta.
Off to our right side, we have a shark's fin. Following the shark's fin, we have some shark teeth after breakfast.
Wow.
That blood red color comes from iron deposits, giving it that blood red color there. Now this room we're in right here, it's known as the Twilight Zone. The reason it's called the Twilight Zone is because if I turn off all of my lights and we look down this tunnel, we may be able to check out a very faint glow of daylight. So here in a moment, we are going to turn off the lights. We'll look down this tunnel and see if we can see some daylight. Giving your eyes a little bit to adjust, you may notice a very faint glow of daylight in front of us. To our left side, we have a western sunset. Now, following the western sunset, we have some moonlight.